century tower, one of UF's most recognizable landmarks. Built in 1953 as a monument to students killed in both of the World Wars, it houses an instrument unlike any other. However, most students seem to take the tower's music for granted. What really goes on inside there? They probably can connect with the mystery of Notre Dame.
But you know, they do not ring all by themselves.
They don't!
No, you silly boy. Up there, high in the dark bell tower, lives the mysterious bell ringer.
But who is this mysterious bell ringer? My group went on a journey to discover this mystery, and we discovered this. This is the Carillon studio, a group of students dedicated to the tower's instrument. We asked to get a view from inside the tower.
There isn't an elevator in here?
There's no elevator.
Unfortunately, you have to climb up 11 floors just to get to the instrument. And once we got to the top, this is what we found. The Carillon, a keyboard-like instrument that plays the bells you hear every day. We had Jonathan demonstrate the instrument for us.
My keys pull down this thing, which activates this clapper, and this clapper strikes the bell. By Matthias Van den Gang, who was a Baroque era composer for the Carillon preludes. He wrote 11 preludes, I think. And they're a staple of the Carillon repertoire.
But before we could leave, he had to remember to set the bell clock back. We then attended a concert from the outside. Afterwards, we met up with the students to discuss the Carillon with them.
How hard is playing the Carillon to you compared to other instruments?
It's very difficult. You don't have control over the pitch of the note, so you don't have to worry about intonation. But it's extremely hard because you can't always tell immediately how it sounds because you're up in the tower and it sounds dramatically different on the ground. And until you develop the right technique, which took me a while, the pedals and the baton can feel quite heavy, so I found it really hard.
Coordinating feet and hands, because my musical background just involves hands. Like, it's a step up and you have to add more
You
legs.
have to play with a closed fist instead of your fingers, and the fact that you actually have to kind of suffer physically for your art. You have to climb, 11 stories of stairs almost every day and play a lot of physically demanding music because you're moving all over the place, a lot of the time.
It's not necessarily hard, it's just different. If you play the piano, you'll get a good appreciation for what it's like. Because I've played the piano for like 8 years. So all the keys are laid out the same, and in that respect it's the same. But it's kind of like an organ, because you have foot-pedals too, right? But the thing that's different about it is when you're playing, it's striking a bell and not hitting a note, so you don't have to hold down the keys, which is the only difference. So it's not necessarily hard.
Aspects of the Carillon.
Well, it's really unique because I think it is the largest instrument, and so the bells are heavy, but not really as heavy. I mean, the batons are heavy, but not as heavy as you'd expect for such large bells.
How did you start playing the Carillon and why?
Well, you start by auditioning. You have to contact Dr. Alice, the professor, and she'll set up an interview, and you just go and talk to her, and you play a piece on a piano or a keyboard or whatever you play, and then you either get accepted or you don't, and you're in the studio, and then you just start playing. I started because I played classical guitar as well, and I heard a piece that was classical guitar, and it was being played up on the bell tower, and I thought it was really cool. I was like, what's this about? So I went on the website for the Carillon, and I saw that. I found Dr. Alice, and I contacted her, and I asked her, and that's how I ended up getting it.
Do you guys hang out like outside of class?
Yeah. I'm really, really good friends with a couple of people in the studio. Actually, Mag's been into it. So we hang out all the time. Some of us are involved in other musical groups and stuff, so we see each other all the time.
How can you pursue a career in Carillon?
Carillons are located at churches most of the time. I mean, we're really rare. This is the only university Carillon in Florida, and one of maybe 25 in the United States. And so, it'll be a very rare opportunity that you get to do that as a professor in a college. But there are more Carillons in churches than there are in universities. So as a church musician, you're probably going to be required to play a Carillon if your church has one.
But we had one very important question to ask them.
Do you ever feel like the Hunchback of Notre Dame up there?
I suppose maybe the first time I thought it was pretty cool.
Ever talk to any statues or anything?
No.
Have you ever met the Hunchback of Notre Dame?
No.
Have you ever met the Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Yes. No.
We then got to meet up with Dr. Ellis.
The difficult thing, I think, is the tuning of the instrument itself, because it's not based on the Western overtone series. A lot of people have trouble listening to the Carillon because it doesn't sound like it's in tune. And our instrument is in concert pitch, but there's a number of Carillons that transpose. So if you have perfect pitch and you go to another place, it's a transposing Carillon. Everything's going to sound like it's in the wrong key. So there's some issues like that are difficult. But I would say the most difficult thing is the coordination issue. You've got to get your hands and your feet moving together. And even if you're a pianist, you might play like this, but you never play like this. So it's just a different instrument with its own unique. I think that's part of the nature of the instrument a little bit, the anonymity of what we do as performers. I think it is part of the nature of the instrument, and one of the things that we try to do is, through what you guys are doing, through giving tours, is to try and get the word out there. And I think it's getting out, but will it always be a challenge? Sure. It'll always be a challenge, but I think that's okay. As long as it enriches a person's day, whether they necessarily know that somebody is up there or not, I don't know if that's really the point all of the time. If it becomes a part of the fabric of the culture of the university, I think is more important. That people remember the clock strike, and when it's not there, they wonder what's going on. I think that's important just in and of itself.
So whether a tower is playing music such as this, or traditional music heard at the University of Florida, just remember what really goes on behind the scenes.